Milano. Welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Ryan. Good to be here. I already like the title, man. Always better
Amazing.
than yesterday. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we have. Yes, we
We
have.
wanted to make a difference with it. We knew that we had to share our own struggles and our own obstacles and the real story, as you said. We had to be vulnerable because it had to be real. And it wasn't this, hey, we have the best marriage in the world book. It wasn't, hey, we have a perfect marriage. As you know, it was a lot of realness, sharing our flaws, our mistakes. And we knew that in doing that, we would help people change. We would help people improve and get better in the relationship.
And I helped her onto the train with her bags and everything, gave her a hug and a kiss. And we said our goodbyes. And then the emergency buzzers for the automatic doors to close started alerting. So I stepped back. But as I did, the bottom part of my coat got trapped in the closing doors as they slammed to. And it was well trapped in there. And I just could not pull it free. I tugged, obviously, with my life. That wasn't happening. So I looked for help. There was no guard on the platform. There was nobody around. So I just yelled at the top of my voice, hoping somebody would run through. That didn't happen. The engine started to rev up. And I thought, oh, this is not looking good. And I remember just thinking, bang on the windows. Nobody came through. I just thought at this point, I don't think I'm going to pull free of this. I think this is it. I think I'm going to die.
How do you look back at that and think, wow, like, it just blows my mind?
Dude, me too. It blows my mind. And I, all right. I get asked, geez, oh man, don't you get tired of that? Heck no, I don't. Why? And those are the first 3 words I said on a summer night in 1992 in Austin, Texas, my very first night on a film set of a movie that was called Dazed and Confused, in a scene that I was not supposed to be in, that the director goes, hey, think Wooderson would do this? I'm like, yeah.
After they read the book, because it's an easy read, as you know, it's an easy back and forth. It doesn't take long. After they read the book, he started turning her car around so that it was facing outward where she could just pull out. So it's not just for couples who are in trouble. It's for couples who are in love that just want to make a better relationship. And it's for people who are not in a relationship.
The research is phenomenal on how we can get in sync with ourselves and connect with who we really are. So that's sort of the brief version of my story. And so you've got the Earth's heart and the Earth's brain, and we're all connected to that. What happens in the solar flares or the Earth changes affects us.
Personally, I am much more luckier than most. I was born into 2 incredible parents. I have 2 great brothers. I'm in the middle of them. Upper middle class because of how hard my mom and dad continue to work. So I part of the motivation for me to work so hard is because of how lucky I am. Because of the luck I was born into, because of what I've been given, that I don't deserve any of it. And so I think like Steve Prefontaine said, to not give everything you have is to waste the gift.
And then I was pulled between the space of the platform edge and the train itself. And it was like, I just heard this tremendous rip, I remember. And it was like time had just stretched and my vision had stretched. And I remember just seeing the side of the carriage doors disappearing into the sky. And then I just went down into this dark pit, into the grips of hell. It was just and thrown around relentlessly like a rag doll.
So he said, first things first. He said, if I put a carrot in that pot of boiling water we call prison, he said, what happens to the carrot? And, Ryan was like, a carrot turns soft, Mr. Jackson. I mean, that's what carrots do. He said, that's right. He said, the carrot goes into the water hard, but the water, the prison, changes that hard carrot, turns it soft. He said, the carrot got beat, he got robbed, he got raped, and he may have gotten killed. He said, you don't want to be the carrot. He said, what about the egg, West? And I was like, well, the egg turns hard, Mr. Jackson, like a hard-boiled egg. He said, that's right. He said, the egg is a shell that protects it physically, but inside that shell, that soft liquid core, the egg's heart becomes hard. He said, if your heart becomes hardened, you're incapable of giving or receiving love. And he said, if you're incapable of giving or receiving love, you've become institutionalized, and you will not come back as someone your parents recognize because your eggshell will have swastikas tattooed all over it. And that's when he asked me, He said, what about the coffee bean? And I had no clue, Ryan. I didn't know what happened to a coffee bean in a pot of boiling water, right? And that's when he shared with me the most important lesson I've ever learned. Because he said, if I put a coffee bean into that same pot of boiling water we call prison, he said, now you got to change the name of the water to coffee. Because he said the coffee bean, Wes, the smallest of these three things, he said, small like you, had the power to change the entire atmosphere inside that pot, because the power was inside the coffee bean, just like the power is inside of you.
What we're here to chase. And knowing, I think the great thing is knowing that's the point. We're never going to catch them.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
great. Like any relationship, we love the chase. It's not near as fun after you catch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a. I'm glad it made sense to you, man, and because that's our own. It's everyone has their own personal story for what they're chasing, and it can even change over time.
We'll have to go to a soccer game.
Yeah, when I'm there, I'll hit your. Who's your team?
I'm a Chelsea fan.
All right.
Let's
Chelsea
do it.
fan as well.
Let's do it.
Chelsea, then you get on my side. We'll go to Austin FC.
You can come over here for a Guinness, and I'll come over there for one of your fine bourbons.
Don't wait for somebody else to be that coffee bean. You go run and jump in that pot of boiling water called life and show everybody around you, to turn it around. Be like that coffee bean every single day, because, even if no one else sees you being a coffee bean that day, you will feel it and it'll make your day better. We control our positive body language. So have positive body language everywhere you go, and go out there and go be a coffee bean.
Go be a coffee bean. I love the legacy of the words that were passed to you and the duty that you now and sharing that with other people. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
Ryan, thanks a lot, man. I really enjoyed it, brother. Thank you.
As soon as you stop trying to have it go, do something to make this go away, and you let that energy, you seek to let that energy be discovered and felt and experienced, and allow it to take you on a journey, and you let it become the primary leading rhythm instead of you trying to be separate from it, everything changes.
So when I came on your show, Patrick shared some top tips for leaders leading remotely. And one thing he said was be exceedingly human. It was something I really took to heart. And what would be some of your, top tips, top number one tip, practical tip for leaders who are having to navigate and lead remotely?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to go on for a long time, even afterwards, because I think kind of the work from anywhere mentality is going to become more normal, where people prove they can produce from anywhere. It will continue to happen. And from like a business perspective, they could save cost of not having as much office space and random places all over the world.
Ladies of Tampa, I sure do like to pamper. Wow, you.
Let's give that.
Not the lyric.
Honestly,
ladies of Tampa, I sure do like to pamper the YOU. That's the new lyrics that we made up.
Honestly, I think I've got some brownie points because I picked up my guitar. I was sat here shitting myself thinking.
I think that was the E note. You got the E note. We're in. Look after ourselves and each other. Create as many green lights for ourselves and others at the same time. Again, I think where the I meets the we, that's the honey hole of where we need to go. That pays us back and the most amount of people at the same time. Bless up. Pet your dog, your pet when you can, and look after yourselves.